We're going to call the meeting to order of the Washington Central Unified Union School Board on October 15th. At 6:17. Lisa, you're all set? Good. Spencer, you're all good? Okay, so here we go. So I have one adjustment to the agenda, and I'll ask board members if they have any. I would like to add an executive session for personnel after public comments. Everybody okay with that? Could I have a motion to, anything else? It was used, okay, can I have a motion to accept the agenda as modified?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Ursula, second by Zach. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I want to acknowledge that a couple of our board members are joining us online. Michelle is online, Natasha is online, and Keely is online with us today. Okay, I'm going to open it up for public comments now. I'm going to see if we have any participants. Okay, anybody in the public here? We have a mic. If you have a public comment, we're going to have time for the public to ask questions after the pre-K presentation. So if you're here specifically for pre-K, hold your comments and you'll have a chance to ask questions and do a comment on the pre-K part. If you're here for, if there's something in the agenda that you want to address now, please make sure to share it now. I see Lauren. Okay, Lauren, 1 second. You will have a minute and a half. It's online. Okay, Lauren.
Sorry, I have technical problems. No, this is actually just to say thank you for the principals. On October 10th, the elementary schools got together at East Montpelier Elementary School. I think it was October 10th. All the elementary schools gathered there for the fall field days, and it was an awesome event. My kids both came home so excited and so happy, and they loved getting into different groups and meeting other kids in the district. And I just wanted to thank the administrators and teachers. I know that's a huge effort, and these are the kind of events that help bring kids together and our communities together. And I recognize they're a ton of work, and I appreciate that. And I hope to see more of that as it is able to. So thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. That's great. And we'll highlight that in the principal report. Okay. I don't see any other hands. I was leaving more time and not going into a lot of comments, thinking that we would have a lot. But I'm going to give it to Stephen so we can have a little more time with our pre-K presentation. There were some memos that he was sharing with everybody, members of the public also have.
And it's sharing it in the chat as well for those who are online. It's also on our resources page. So first, I want to thank members of our committee are here. I'm not going to do this full presentation. Diane's going to give you some information as well, because she was one of the members of our committee as a board member. But really want to thank Celia, Heather Clark-Warner, Callie Weller, Katie Walzak, Dawn Dumas, Rebecca Webb were also members of, and Kim Bolduck. How did I've got it. I thought I had it. Oh. Kim Bolduck, too. Excellent committee to be a part of. Let me just say it was a thrill for me to be with this group of people because they are so committed to our youngest kids in the district and making sure that they have a great experience. And so I learned a lot being with this committee. They were quick to educate me on what littles do. And as a high school guy, I really appreciated that. I think I would preface this by saying that we talked a lot about what does good pre-K look like. We produced a community, why am I blanking, a survey that we got a pretty good response on from our community about what they need and what they were wanting. I shared some of that data with the board earlier. And then we just want to be able to bring to you some kind of recommendations as we move into the budget season as to what we might want to look at for supporting in the coming year. And so, Diane, I know we can probably tag team a little bit of this, but I'd be happy to turn it over to you now.
Take care of a fruit fly here.
Okay.
Yes, so it was a great committee to be part of, a task force that, and Stephen, thank you for the way you led it as a way of gathering information and learning. People who were part of it were able to share their experience and their history, and also we talked a lot about the research and philosophy behind what makes for quality programs. And also, as part of that survey, hearing what is it that we know our communities need, our families need, and then what is the realistic ability of a school to address those needs. And one of the things that became clear is the number of hours of which we offer is one of those things that we believed in through research, through experience, and also through feedback that was an area we could increase. Also while maintaining that it would be based in different ways of play-based learning, outdoor learning, things that could be incorporated in that. But also then recognizing families need something beyond the 5 hours a day that we were talking about providing. And so what would that look like? And while it would be an extended day, it also isn't a day that goes till very late like other programs might. So also understanding again that sustainability and the balance of what we can provide. And so the other things that we talked about too were what could we do to make it more equitable across all of our towns? What could we do to make sure that we were considering all that would come through the door and where is the best place and options available? So those were also parts of the discussion which are in here. I also appreciate, Stephen, that what we didn't try to do was make the decisions for schools or for the communities. What we tried to frame up was what we were hearing was needed, as well as where those spaces through regulations and licensing, what would be needed for that, as well as what is the best way of us providing any, special education services for children, and what would that look like? What would enrollment look like? So basically, it's a framework for us to use and for details around it, as you were saying, that really it's important information for us to have as a board as we go into the budget season.
Yeah. I mean, Diane, thank you. I mean, I think that's a really good synopsis of the work that we did. One of the things that when you look at this, you're probably saying, oh, there's a lot of details that are not here. You're correct. We have additional details that we put together as a committee, but for the purposes of the board, what we're asking the board to do is support this through the budget process. And knowing that if the budget is, the budget's going to undergo some changes as we look, but we certainly want this to be considered as one of the priorities as we start looking at this. We did not talk about specific location for any one of the programs, but you can imagine that in the larger schools, we were going to need programming there. But we also heard from parents, sometimes their choice for what school that they want their child to go to for pre-K has more to do with where they work than, and the area in which they work than it does in where they live. Where some families said, hey, we want all of our kids together in the same building. And so trying to create a little bit of enrollment flexibility is one of the other things that we were hoping for within this process, so that a family might say, hey, while we might live in Calais, Berlin would be a better option for us in terms of pre-K. And just trying to balance those out as part of the enrollment process and trying to get that process started in a timely manner so that we can then make sure that we've got the programs positioned appropriately. I think you'll see there that the license, some of those spaces were previously licensed. They might not currently be, but we could relicense them if we needed to. And I did want to, I think there was one issue. One of the buildings says that both the bathrooms in both of the classrooms. I can't Rumney, thank you. Rumney only has the bathroom in one of the classrooms, so I just want to make sure that that's accurately said there on all of that. But I think part of us is like I would just say we have 5 programs right now that are half-day programs. What we're really looking at, can we expand those 5 half-days into a longer day of pre-K, helping prepare our kids? One of the benefits of having a more robust pre-K education instead of just pre-K and childcare is that we can provide better services for special education, the students that need any of those early childhood services. We also can catch kids early in their learning career and start to address maybe some functional skills issues or some just socialization issues that they might have so that they're just better prepared for school. I don't want to say that this is like all school. It is a play-based program, right? That's what we're really talking about here, and making sure that our kids have the best start as they get going in their early childhood. We are also not trying to replace every private program out there. We can't accommodate all of our kids, and our families have said they like other programs as well, and we want to give them those choices through Act 166. And so I think that kind of lays out the programming itself, and I think, do we have questions around that? I don't know how you want to do, community or board first.
I was going to let the community ask questions first and then have the board ask questions.
Great.
So, community members, some of you just had a chance to look at the program right now. Julie, do you want to? You get a mic. 1 sec. Introduce yourself in town.
Okay, yes. So my name is Julie Wood. I'm the lead teacher of the Community Connections preschool at East Montpelier Elementary School. So, and an East Montpelier resident. So the question I have is a couple of things. So first of all, I think I can only speak to East Montpelier Elementary, but I feel like the Community Connections program there is actually excellent. We're not like subpar compared to the pre-K program, just to put that out there. The other part that I wanted to ask you was, it says that you're looking at a maximum of 20 children in that program, in the one pre-K, in that one classroom, is that correct?
Well, actually, I would just say, let me first say that I hope that it never came across that I didn't believe that CC was doing a good job at any of our schools.
Well,
I think what we're looking
yeah.
at is how do
No.
we create a new partnership?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. I just want to ask though. So you're saying that you would have one classroom at East Montpelier with a maximum of 20 children, is that correct?
No, so
No.
East Montpelier.
Could you clarify
Yeah, I
that,
can clarify.
please?
East Montpelier has 2 spaces that can be used for pre-K education.
Yeah.
One of them can hold 17 students, one can hold 16 students.
Okay.
The maximum is that maximum that's set by regulation, but some of our classrooms aren't large enough to be able to accommodate 20 kids. So we know
Right.
that.
Okay.
As part of it, and that's what the chart gives us, is what is the maximum on all those. I would say that it would depend upon enrollment as to how many. We could possibly have 2 pre-K classes at each of the schools except for Doty, which would have 1 possible pre-K class. We're not saying which 5 we're going to run, we have at our
Okay.
disposal 9 rooms that could
Okay.
possibly be used for pre-K to meet the needs of the communities wherever those kids work.
Okay, because I feel like that would be sort of disappointing for East Montpelier, because right now we have the capacity to have 33 children, in our program with, the help of
Yep.
CC helping out, but, with, like, that is the capacity that can be provided, the care there. So that would be disappointing to then only be able to provide for only 20 children.
No, that's not what, I
Okay.
hope, I'm
Great.
sorry if that got miscommunicated.
Okay, no, that's great, and I appreciate that being clarified.
We actually have a greater capacity than we're actually saying that we can do in the first year.
Okay.
So our first year, we're looking at 5 programs, and
Yep.
it'll depend upon what our enrollment numbers look like as to which
Yep.
communities we would use. But we actually have 9 different classrooms that are available to us if we were to expand in the future. I don't really see that happening, and I don't want to overextend us in the first go.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make that, understand that, because I do know the needs of East Montpelier residents, and I do know, I think we sort of fluctuate on our numbers, but we have been fairly high, and people do really need the pre-K, and they do need that care. I do recognize that, and it is important for families in our communities.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Enrollment's going to really drive our locations.
Yes, I agree. Okay.
Yep.
Did you have them?
Thank you, Julie. Any other questions from the public on pre-K? And it can be online or here. Wow. I guess you guys are very clear, pre-K team. So now we're going to move to the board. Board, do you have questions? Ursula.
Currently, under Act 166, all kids get 10 hours of pre-K, right?
Correct.
This would increase the number of hours that we are providing within programs within our district. How would that affect students in pre-K outside of our district? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we would have students that live within our district that are attending a different program. It's not ours.
So the program
Would
would
they
still
still
be
just
the
get
same for them. They would have the 10 hours that would be available to them through Act 166, and then they would have to provide, it would be their choice as to how they wanted to extend that time.
Chris?
But they wouldn't get the other 15 hours.
No,
No.
that's not a part of, you would have to be attending our program to be a part of those 15 hours.
Okay. Do you have a sense in terms of how locations would be determined?
I think enrollment, and I would say that we want them to be placed in places where people need them,
Right.
right? So we do recognize that this year we don't have a program at Rumney or Doty. That's not ideal for us and our families.
One more question? Oh, sorry.
It's along the same lines. If you stick to the ratio that you've got in the document, 1 to 10, and given the number of rooms with the capacity, are there scenarios where you'd encourage a family to move to put their kid to move kids to a different building so that you had the most efficient ratio and capacity, or is it residency first, and then if parents have a desire and there's a space, and then they can move? Is that how?
So not fully fleshed out,
Sure.
but we would definitely have a process by which your town pre-K would be your first choice on all of that, enrollment dependent piece, and then we would look at, okay, what are your other options? So parents could actually rank their choices for them if they wanted to. And we have right now, we have a couple of kids who don't go to pre-K in the town in which they live because it's better for them, for their family, and for other reasons, which we want to really be able to accommodate some of that if we can.
Thanks.
Stephen, can I also?
Yeah, please.
So the 1 to 10 ratio is state ratio, and so many of us know you would never want just one adult with 10 preschoolers and that. And so that's a non-negotiable configuration of that 1 to 10, but the team was definitely, the task force was definitely thinking about what makes the best sense for the number of adults available in a classroom and that. And so in that regard of really looking at it, and then, the square footage is put in there as to what you would need to have, and those spaces are licensed a certain way, so it's really about, doing all of that math together.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Dan. Zach, and then Michaela? And then you, Chris.
I know that this is, looking at the 35-week school year. I know that because most daycares, run full year, there isn't the same infrastructure or things like camps and such in the summer. Was there any thought about, in addition to the fee-based, aftercare, before care, of having extended time through the year that was maybe not, part of the school year?
So as a matter of fact, Community Connections does do some of those programs. We would certainly hope that we could expand that in the future, but a lot of that is driven by staffing availability as well. So, so certainly we heard a lot about the need for childcare beyond what we've proposed at pre-K, but we also know there's limitations to what we as a district can provide. Yeah.
Michaela?
I want to say I love the idea of this many hours of universal pre-K for the district, so thank you. And I see, under eligibility that any student currently enrolled is going to be guaranteed a spot. And then, from there. But you mentioned residency. If we're not running a pre-K program in each town, I just want to make sure that the towns without the pre-K are not disadvantaged in some way in terms of enrollment or in terms of preference.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we talked about is if a town didn't have a pre-K program in their town, that their preference would be their first preference, right? So there's a little tweak to, I think we actually ran across that as we were putting this together, is just making sure that if there's not a program in your town, your first preference is the same as somebody who's in a town preference. So I think I said that right, yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
Chris?
Yep. So that, see when you're talking about the ratios, the 1 to 10, but we would do less, is that to protect the adults from the preschoolers?
Such a good point.
And then,
I would defer to all my pre-K teachers out there.
and then the serious question. Oh my God.
Hey, I'm not your pre-K teacher.
Yeah, he's going to hang out with Heather and Julie. And
What do we anticipate the additional cost to be, just for budgetary purposes?
So I think as a start, so we currently employ, we employ enough teachers to do the 5 sessions that are half-day. So we would need to double the FTE of our teachers. That's 2.5. It's a half. These numbers don't work out exactly with the way our FTEs are, but it's essentially 2.5 people that currently cover our programs. We would need to expand that to 5. With the work, this is where it gets a little tricky. We're not 100% sure because Community Connections already has employees that also might be a part of our programming, because I want to be clear, Community Connections are our employees, right? They just have a different role within our organization. And so I think really partnering with some of the people that are currently in CC as part of our programming is going to be a vital part of making this all work. Integrating us more fully with our staffs. Yeah. Did that get your question?
wait 1 second, Julie, because we can get a mic to you. Just let me, any other board members have questions before I go back to the public? Okay, go ahead, Julie. Here comes Spencer.
Thank you. My other question was about the 9 to 2 timing, because school actually really begins at 8:45 because buses actually arrive at 8:45, and that's when breakfast begins, and we often have all the kids for breakfast, and breakfast for preschoolers is 100% actually take the breakfast. So that's such an important part of their start to their day. So I just wanted to kind of address that piece, that I'm not sure about the 9 o'clock part
So
of
that's
it.
just the start of the school day, but we recognize that
Okay.
kids are there earlier. There's really several aspects of this.
Okay.
There's the 9 to 2 is what we talked about as being the pre-K time.
Yep.
There needs to be some before-school care, some after-school
Yeah.
care, and extended pre-K time as well to get
Okay.
us from 2 till the end of the day. So staffing that is going to be different than what we see now as our
Yeah.
staffing model. But we want to make sure that people get their contractual time, that
Right.
the kids get their time and all that.
Because
So we do know that.
Okay, because that is the issue that we hear from parents, even on the Wednesdays, that 3 o'clock, either the kids are getting home that half an hour early on the bus, or they're having to be picked up that half hour early is really tricky for parents.
We saw that in the survey as well, and
Okay.
realized that that is an important part of what we address as part of our programming, is that before and after school care for some of our families is critical for them to be able to work, to be able to do what they need to do, and that for their child to be taken care of. And so that was really, the committee talked about that a great deal, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Stephen, I think I'd just add to the staffing piece.
Oh.
Grab the mic, because the people online have a hard time.
I would just add that the staffing piece, we've been talking about there being overlap time when like preschool staff and CC, I don't know how to categorize everyone if they're all our staff, but there would be overlap time where both programs could be in the room at the same time.
Like, oh, yeah, here, oops, sorry, that's too many.
I do think I know the answer to this question already, but will it be clear once you finally get the numbers to when, like in the budgetary process, will it be clear to the voters that those increases are not due just to the increases in regular increases like health insurance and other things like that? Like if the budget, let's say, is $200,000 for the program, will that be reflected clearly to the voters so they realize that it's not just a random increase in health insurance or other things like that?
Yep, so our pre-K program will be broken out for the board to see what do we currently spend and what will we spend in the future.
And hopefully they will, community members are going to be paying attention to our priorities. And hopefully after this explanation, the board, it's not an action item today, but we did wanted to see thumbs up, which most board members had asked positive questions, that this is something that we really want to bring into our district to better serve our community. So would you guys be okay just giving the thumbs up so that we can make sure that we continue to move forward to this? Okay, all right. I see Michelle.
You had a question.
And Daniel, you have a
I was
question?
just going to ask Flora, I mean, this effectively is a new budget parameter, isn't it?
It's not necessarily a budget parameter, because in one of our budget parameters for us, we are saying that we want to actualize our strategic plan already, but it would be as we prioritize. So let's wait until Stephen and them bring, but we could add it, if you wanted to add it as a separate parameter, we could add it as a separate parameter.
I want to add it as a separate parameter.
Okay, we'll add it as a separate parameter right under the multi-layer system of supports. Does that mean when we get to that conversation?
Well,
Okay.
thanks.
I'm going to try to keep us on time, so if there's no other questions, public, all good? Thank you to our all pre-K
And a big thank you to all of you who came out
experts for being here.
this.
Thank you, Heather, Julie, and Julie.
And my profound
Kim.
apology, Kim, for not having you on the list there.
And thank you for the team. Yeah. All right, this is really exciting. Okay, so now we're going to move into our reports, and we have our cult report. And Julia, would you be needing a mic?
Yeah, we wanted to highlight in the COLT report, some of the special education report came out recently, and Julie had highlighted that in our COLT.
Hi, I'm Julia Pritchard, the Director of Student Support Services for the district. The Agency of Education has recently released a report to our legislature that is titled The Current State of Special Education Delivery. It's a hefty document. There's 77 pages, but I'm just here to highlight a few things for you tonight. One of the things that are highlighted in this report is that despite our declining enrollment, we're seeing an increase in eligibility for students for special education services in the state of Vermont. Also, our extraordinary costs, including tuition and transportation, are growing sharply. Vermont leads the nation in the percentage of time that students are included in the general education classroom. We have 82% of our students are included, and we also lead the nation in the number of students with special education needs who attend separate schools, which is quite a gap in our service, and something that we're going to be talking about more in the future. One of the outcomes from the report is that our general education instruction needs strengthening to better support our students with disabilities. We have a persistent achievement gap for students with IEPs. Our current systems don't really adequately measure the fidelity of implementing the evidence-based practices that were required in the state through Act 173. So it's more work to come in our future. And our extraordinary costs are increasing. Over the last 6 years, extraordinary costs have driven nearly 50% of the growth in special education spending, despite being only 15% of total costs. So there are several next steps to come. The AOE is reorganized its internal structure to improve oversight, support, and coordination across general education, special education. And there's a 3-year statewide special education plan that is expected in December 2025. They're also considering possibly moving to a weighted funding model, where currently we moved to a block grant funding model not that many years ago, and they're considering a different model in the years to come. And on Monday, Jen Miller-Arsenault and Kat Fair from U32 and I will be with other educators across the state of Vermont to look more deeply at data, hopefully more specific to our district, and to talk about our service delivery and what we can do in the future. Stay tuned. I think there's a lot more to come on these topics. Who's next?
All right, so we're going to highlight a couple of principal pieces, and I know, Celia, you asked me to make sure I warned you ahead of time. If you, so, sorry. I'm sorry, what? Yeah. What we're also going to request of the steering committee is that we move our principals reports to the other meeting that we have, because that's the meeting that when we're in the community, because that's the one that I really would like for our principals to attend, so that they can be talking about what's going on in the schools while we're in a school talking about other things in that school. So that we're going to be starting up our presentations of, that highlight some of our activities. And so we're going to try to shift that if the board and the steering committee doesn't mind, because we have a lot of reports that are due on this day every month. And so, but see, I was hoping you could highlight your HJC work that you guys did at Berlin. Yeah, and the little cares.
Cares. Yeah. The humanity and justice.
Thank you. It's not in front of me. So our building has it's like a mini TA structure. We call them den groups. And part of this community and belonging this year is that on the first Thursday of the month, there's an all-school meeting. And then on the third Thursday of the month, we have den groups. And they all engage in different activities. Tomorrow, we're actually looking at fry bread. And we're talking about Indigenous peoples. And kids are going to talk about foods that are important to them and their families as family traditions. But last month, the second grade class actually presented our theme for the month of September and October and November is community, and the second graders led our all-school meeting, and it was wonderful, and they talked about all of the cares and how it shows up. They did some interactive work with our, like they presented, this is our community, and then they asked the rest of the school, they ran a greeting. It was wonderful. So that's sort of what's going on for us in terms of our inclusion and equity work. And if you happen to stop by our playground, we are in the middle of an install of a brand new playground, which is super, super exciting. And so come on over and check it out. It should be finished hopefully by Saturday morning at soccer. So, yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
If you wouldn't mind handing it to Gillian, I'm switching stuff.
You.
So Lauren mentioned at in the public comment about our field day. Let's just say that it was amazing, and I was going to let Gillian tell you a little bit about it, but just a big thank you to the principals and teachers that put that together. It was an amazing, amazing time. So
Right.
Take it away.
And I slept for 2 days afterwards. So did we go up? We went through a number of iterations of the name. I believe we settled on Fall Jamboree. And this idea came out of the elementary principals. We were actually at U32, and we sat down with Beth Becca and Beck Dazan, and we were just talking about what are some ways that we can start to think more as a district, sort of picking up on the work that happened with the merger and really sort of making things happen. So how can we begin to bring children and young people together as a community? And so the idea got tossed around of let's do some sort of something where we all get together. And so we landed on doing a fall jamboree field day. We chose to do that to use the East Montpelier facilities because of the close proximity of the rec fields there, and some of the other logistical things about numbers of bathrooms and things like that. So on Friday morning, we all descended upon the East Montpelier campus and the East Montpelier rec fields. We all had grade level and school color shirts, and the kids were divided up into in groups, and they had wristbands, and there were a variety of different games that happened that the kids were able to rotate through. And we got a lot of really, really positive feedback about it. And we also got a lot of really sort of helpful feedback about, when you decide to bring approximately 550 young people together again, here are some things that might have things go a little bit more smoothly. So we're really looking forward to making this more of a regular occurrence rather than a once every 10 years type of a thing. So I do have to give a very public shout out to all of the teachers who stepped up, led groups, led activities, organized things. Our physical education staff came up with all the games and planned everything. And it was just an amazing, amazing experience.
And let's not forget food service and the ability to feed everybody over there. I've never seen so many hot dogs in one place. It was great. And
600 students.
To the community schools grant for supporting that work, and thank you to Becca for bringing that work forward, and it was fantastic.
Right. Oh, and and we had, we had some U32 high school students, 25, and we really ensured to make sure that we had U32 kids who were residents of all the 5 towns, so that the younger kids could see some of the older kids that they knew. And I know I've forgotten to credit some people, but it was fantastic.
yeah. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who had a role in that.
Do you want to, that's good? No?
That's good.
Okay. So we're going to move into our student report. We're so excited to have you with us. Yay.
Welcome back.
Hi. So I guess we'll just start it off with last month we had that community dinner for the district. Around 400 community members attended that. This event was part of that mission to kind of bring the community together and to be one district more than just 5 elementary schools and a high school. There were students and other volunteers chopping ingredients and prepping food, and if you look in the newsletter, you'll see a picture of Floor cooking some stuff. So that's kind of neat. The school had, the U32 had a club fair on September 17th. The goal of the clubs are to bring students together, creating spaces where they feel safe and able to dive further into interests, meaningful conversations, and explore passions that they know they have or might not know they have had. In late September and early October, U32 also hosted some info sessions teaching students about mental health for peers and teenagers, so like mental health first aid. On October 7th, U32 hosted a college fair to allow students to explore the next steps after they graduate. And so something exciting for the whole district is that there have been 2 teachers within our district who have been nominated for UVM's Outstanding Educator Award. Diana Costello of Rumney and Olga Benoit of U32. They were celebrated during the annual opening convocation and will be recognized at the award ceremony at UVM on Monday, October 27th. And so please join us in congratulating them on their well-deserved honor. There are also a handful of seniors here who are commended and who are named for their academic successes, and I guess how to say is like these students are nominated for the National Merit Scholarship Program, as well as 2 seniors who are National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. And so that group represents about less than 1% of the nation's high school graduating seniors. Also, welcome to Betsy Vanderlip to the U32 community as a special educator. Recently, the U32 Outing Club, which is, I believe, a new club, I haven't heard of it, went on their first adventure, taking a hike on Camel's Hump. U32 hosted some cross-country youth races on September 27th as well. On the evening of October 5th, outside of the State House, people attended the Out of the Darkness Prevention Walk, which is a walk aimed to prevent suicide. Students can talk to their counselors or their TAs about volunteering opportunities or career labs hosted by career labs and volunteering programs hosted by Liza Semler. And then to the sports, I guess. On October 3rd, a football game occurred. The U32 Booster Club was raising money for St. Baldrick's Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization aimed in combating childhood cancer. The fundraiser was a raffle with a prize, the ability to shave football coach and U32 teacher Drew Junkin's head. Unsure about the total raised, but that was definitely fun to watch. I know that a bunch of people enjoyed watching it.
Drew got shaved?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
It's on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a video.
The football team has won its past 2 games and by huge margins. Like most recent was, I believe, like 36-7. The previous one, 38-6, and giving them a 4-2 record. Tonight was senior night for both soccer teams, boys and girls soccer teams, and then Friday will be the senior night for football. The boys soccer team has won their past 2 games as well as giving them a 5-7 record. Girls soccer has won the past 8 games, most recently beating Montpelier 2-0. This gives them a 9-3 record. Actually, not most recently. They just won against, I don't know what team, but they just won. Nope, I'm really bad at things. Gosh, my brain doesn't work.
It does work.
Boys soccer just won their game. Girls are playing right now. That's what's going on. The field hockey team has won their past 2 games, giving them a 9-3 record. And as we share a volleyball team, some members of the volleyball team of Montpelier go to U32. They unfortunately have lost their most recent game and hold a 4-9 record. And that is it for the student report.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lei. Any questions? Well, that was very thorough. Thank you for being here with us today. We're going to move into our Humanity and Justice Coalition update. I'm asking Jen to provide us a quick update. Natasha is sick. She was going to try to join online. I don't see her right now online, so I'm asking Jen to quickly give us just a little update. She co-chairs it with Natasha.
So Natasha and I co-chair the Humanity and Justice Coalition. We've been doing that together for a while now, and the committee typically, the coalition meets about once a month, and we reframed our goal or our purpose actually for this year, and that is to support the actualization of our commitment to humanity and justice vision statement. That just feels much more in alignment and a little bigger and more aspirational than the scope of our work in the past. And this year, our specific goal for this school year is to support the successful implementation of the new education quality standards and to elevate student voice. So to do that, we shifted our meeting time. So we've been meeting in the evenings for years, since the inception of the coalition, and we're now meeting during the school day, and we did it back to back with callback so that we could invite students here to join us. So we just had Humanity and Justice Coalition last week. We had 10 students join us. We had the group. It's also hybrid, so that we extended the invitation to elementary school folks. So we had some people who have not been able to participate in the past who were able to come because it was hybrid or it was during the day. And I think most immediately we have a couple of things we need to do. The first is we typically spend the in-service day close to the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday focused on issues of humanity and justice, and we're figuring out how, we have some ideas about that already to do the education quality standards work, but we want to see about how to more authentically partner with students around that work. So that is under development, and then thinking just again more and more how to ensure that we're meeting our students' needs, that we're hearing their voices, and that we're working together, not only to speak and listen, but also to do good work together. So it was a great meeting with kids, and we're excited to continue.
Thank you so much, Jen. Any questions? Okay, we're going to move to the kids were so articulate. We didn't even, it was so good. Let's move into the update from our configuration committee. Our configuration committee met today. I'm going to attempt to give you 3 bullet points. We had a motion to recommend that the proposal as submitted by our administration was forward to the board, and we move forward with that proposal. And the 2 other things that we wanted to highlight is that we want to make sure that we are using the right language as we grow community and not just think about closing schools, but growing communities and rebranding our schools so the schools belong. So there's not going to be a town without a school. All towns will have a school. And then communication is key, is what we said as the last one. So we have much work to do in communicating. Now that we have a model, we can start the configuration committee, communications committee can start sharing it with our towns. But we gave the green line to, we were going to bring this to the board. It's not on our action for today, but it's something that it aligns with our parameters and it aligns with the work that we're looking forward to doing in order to better set ourselves for the future of our district and bring stability and clarity. Did I miss anything from my configuration committee? No? Okay. So now, I'm gonna.
Flor, could you
Yes.
tell us about what you've approved?
Daniel, do you want to do it? Just like read it? It's just going to be a long, and this is just a quick update, but basically, do you want to do a
Sure,
quick
yeah, just-
outline?
The recommended configuration structure that we voted to advance to the full board was a grade 6 reconfiguration, moving grade 6 students from the elementary schools to U32, an elementary school consolidation, consolidating the current 5 elementary schools into 3 sustained K-5 sites, and basically an integration of students from the closed facilities into the remaining 3 sites. And we all strongly felt that the how of this is incredibly important, and the building of new communities is incredibly important. And I guess one other thing, since I have the mic, I would just add that we want that committee to remain active in the process as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's moving into community schools report.
Let's be specific on what the model is to rebirth Rumney, the Middlesex community and Doty community together, and the Calais community and the East Montpelier community together, just so it's clear what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
And then Berlin.
So we'll have 3
I guess,
sites.
exists.
Yeah, yeah. Where does pre-K? Pre-K to 5 are the sites. We hadn't looked at the pre-K model yet, but it's our goal is to have pre-K to K in all of our, available for all our communities. Yeah.
Yeah. All of our sites are still available for pre-K,
Yeah.
should we choose to use all of them for that, but that would be a board's decision on kind of how we want to use facilities.
Yeah, and we'll have time to talk about that. This is just an update for the configuration committee. We didn't have it as a, as always, we can add it to our board operations. We did not change our agenda today, but I know that there's going to be a lot of questions, and we would be looking for approval from the board to continue this work. Go ahead.
Just want to clarify something that I thought I heard contradiction. You said, Flor, every town would have a school, and that would be pre-KK at every town.
Every
And then-
town, and what I mean by every town is that we're concentrated, so for example, the school will be located, physically located, I'll use my own school. The school will be physically located in East Montpelier. That school belongs to the town of East Montpelier and Calais. Every town will have a school. You know what I mean? It's just, it is how we're doing it. So it means like if you are a resident of Calais, and I don't want to get into the details right now, I just want to shift us from, we're a growing community, so every town will have a school. So it's not like Calais students don't have a school, right? They will be attending East Montpelier Elementary School, but it won't be East Montpelier anymore. It would be however we rebrand that school. So it's the school for that section. I guess even like we are divided sort of north and south. So it's how we as a board and how we as a configuration committee better take care of our communities and our students. And this proposal comes from because I had like a big speech before of it, is like taking care of all our benchmarks, the criteria, the core beliefs. So we would be serving our students and operationalizing our strategic plan with this plan.
I just wanted, I think another thing you said that I think is really important is that the communications is really,
Yes.
needs to be clear, and saying that every town has a school, but every town doesn't have a building, I think is tricky. So I would encourage the committee to rethink that verbiage, because every town has a school means something really different.
Yes,
I think
I agree.
but thank you for the clarification.
Okay, so now we're gonna, if I can, Central Vermont Career Center, so Community Schools Report. In page 14, we had a really great update from Beck. She is not with us today, but I hope that you guys all had a chance to look at that. We are really doing incredible work with the community and it really shows in the community. At least I've heard a lot of really great feedback, and, you know, that dinner that we served over 400 bowls of chili. It was just really amazing, and so thank you for supporting this work. Now we are moving into the Central Vermont Career Center. Patrick.
Yeah, so the Career Center is really focused on the bond vote in November, and we are running a bunch of community information events. Jody was at our last board meeting last week, and so we got a chance, our district got a chance to talk with her, and I think that was a really productive conversation. I think she had a chance to clarify a lot of misconceptions that are in the community about the thought process, and so I think that was really, really helpful. I would encourage folks to reach out if they have particular questions, and to find information on the Career Center website. There have been a couple of op-eds in the last few weeks, one by a board member, one by a community member, and there's probably others I don't know about in the local papers. So seek those out, and certainly reach out to me if you have particular questions.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
Can
Yeah,
I follow?
a question?
There was a really informative and persuasive op-ed by Tom McCone, who used to work here, on the Central Vermont Center and what its value is to the community as a whole and to the students. And it was in the Times-Argus on the weekend edition. Really is worth a look and a read. He was very insightful.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, the next in our agenda is the VSBA update. We're going to be looking at resolutions today. Next week is our meeting to approve resolutions as a state. We have a representative, and we're going to give her guidance today. The conference is coming up. A few of you are signed up to go to the conference. Today actually is the last day to sign, but if any others want to join us, that would be great. And again, just a reminder, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we're going to spend a lot of time in resolutions that you get. If somebody's not getting your Tuesday update from BSBA, please let me know. And there's a lot of hot topics right now, especially with all that is going on nationally. We try to have action alerts that we're doing from the national school boards on that newsletter. It's super simple to click the link, and it helps a lot. Even though our Vermont Coalition supports all of education, it helps a lot to hear from you guys. Okay. With that, we're going to move into board operations, and we're going to start with Jen, again, I believe, for his vote on teacher supervision and evaluation process.
Oh, we actually have to ask the board to table this because we're waiting for the association to vote. They have to vote first.
Okay.
We thought that they might have their vote before this meeting.
Okay.
So we just have to ask that you table this until then.
So could I have a motion? Ursula,
I'll move.
yeah.
Second.
So moved by Ursula to table 5.1, second by Chris. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. So we're going to move right into the VSBA resolutions. And hold on a minute, just have to get to that packet. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. We can go through each resolution right now. We can vote as a slate and go with the recommendation of the resolutions committee. It's the pleasure of the board, but we can. How would you like to get started? Did everybody had a chance to read them? Do you want to go resolution by resolution? Would you be? No. Yeah, okay. Michelle, I see you. Go ahead.
I would like to vote them as a slate. I reviewed all the resolutions, and I mean, I agree with the ones that have all been passed as continuing resolutions. So
Yeah, and yeah. So what is in green on that table that I there was the link, so you would be, I can go one by one just saying what it would be, but we would be accepting the recommendation of the Resolutions Committee, and that would give guidance to Ursula.
Do we want to quickly just say what each one is?
Yes. So I can go one by one, and I would say, so resolution, on the first resolution from Essex Westford School District Board is on universal school meals. And it's an amendment to an existing resolution, and it passes a continuing resolution. The second resolution in the packet is Lake Union High School Board and Lake Region Elementary Middle School Board and North Country Supervisory Union School Board. The topic is local control of public schools of building on existing work, and the recommendation was to take no position, and the reason to take no position is because there was a resolution that came from the committee. I'm just giving you a little bit of history so you know. There's a resolution from the Committee on Education Transformation that took all of those input and made it into one resolution. The third resolution in the packet is for school funding formula. It also came from Lake Region Union High School, and it was voted to pass as a regular resolution. So we passed them as a slate. You would be passing as a regular resolution. The fourth resolution there is also from Lake Region Union High School in North Country, and it's a statewide teacher contract, and it was passed as a continuing resolution. Resolution 5, Lake Region also, and is vaping on school grounds, and it was voted as passed as a regular resolution. We did had some language already on extra resolutions. This is an issue that is really, really big right now in a lot of our high schools, especially in this region, and felt that it didn't hurt to have it, even though we had other guidance, so it passed as a regular resolution. And then we have Peacham School Board retaining elementary schools statewide, and it passed as a regular resolution. And then the Resolution Committee in Education Transformation basically grabbed all of the feedback that we had and created a resolution on education transformation. And that passed as a regular resolution. The next one is Wyndham Southwest Supervisory District School Board and its consolidation of schools. And because the resolution, and what I can do is read the Education Transformation Resolution if you would like. So the next 4 resolutions, so 8, 9, 10, and 11 was take no position. So what we did is and the members of this, both Wyndham, Ludlow, and Wells Rivers had representation from the region, the reps of the region, because the Resolutions Committee is made by one representative of each region, plus the vice president. So it is to not take no position on those 4. Wyndham, Sunwest, Ludlow, Mount Holly, Wells Springs, and Lincoln School District. And those resolutions were on consolidation of schools, VSBA position on legislation, and forced district consolidation to process. And the last part is it's just the current resolution, so it's a motion passed on the full slate. All of the existing resolutions, you approve them again every year. So if we had a motion to pass it as a slate, we would be giving that guidance to Ursula.
I'll move it.
Okay, so Michelle is moving. Would I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any other discussion? Go ahead, Chris.
I would, thank you, Ursula. I would support it except for proposals number 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and would urge that we vote in favor of those resolutions rather than take no position on them, because I think they address community input in the future of our schools, and maintaining the quality of, maintaining smaller schools. So I would rather have us voice a support for those resolutions rather than just take a pass and voice no position on them. So I'd offer a friendly amendment to propose a yes on proposals 7 through 11 rather than just a pass and rather than just take no position.
So Chris, Would you be suggesting, so with your friendly amendment, would it be better to take out those resolutions, that vote separately for those resolutions and passes as late the rest? And that might be a little
Well,
clear?
If you want to take them out and then we vote on them individually, that'd be fine with me, too.
I'm just asking for clarity. Go ahead.
I'm going to make a point that Resolution 7 is already recommended to pass.
Oh, it is, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Then 8 through
Yeah,
11,
and-
8 through 11, thank you.
Because 7 was like a conglomeration of like every resolution
Every
that came into VSBA on consolidation and education transformation.
Okay, then I'll amend my request to resolution number 8, 9, 10, and 11. Pull them out of the slate and vote on them separately.
Is there a second for this?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we're voting just on the amendment to pull out Resolution 8, 9, 10, and 11 from the slate. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Michelle, I just see your head, but I don't.
No.
No. Okay. So the majority is aye, so the ayes have it. So we're going to pull those 4 resolutions. And now let's vote on the motion to approve the resolutions as approved by the board. Could I have a motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So the motion carries. Okay, so now we're going to move into 8, 9, and 10. So do you want me to read there were areas in each of those?
Does everybody feel comfortable that they know? Well, yes, that'd be fine. If you want to read the,
I think we should be reading each of them if we're going to be voting on them
Yeah,
individually.
and, yeah. So what I'm going to do before we move into that is just read Resolution 7, which we already voted on it, but it just puts into context the other 4 resolutions. So Resolution 7, which was created by the committees, I'm just going to read that, therefore be it resolved that VSBA advocates for strong, meaningful participation and decision-making by school boards during all remaining phases of Vermont long-term education transformation process, especially regarding decisions that affect the future of their schools. Additionally, VSBA supports a process for a community served by a school to have a voice in decision regarding school closures. So that is the resolution that was created after reading all of the other feedback, and we approved that one. So now I'm going to read Resolution 8 so that you have that in context when you're voting on the other ones. Any questions on that?
so, Flor, just to save your voice, we'll alternate. You do one, I'll do one, you do one, I'll do one.
Okay, well, I'm just going to do it one by one. Is
Right.
that one, just do
then we're gonna
Resolution
vote.
8 quickly right now. And so in Resolution 8, it says, and further be it resolved that the VSBA will actively support legislation that ensures local communities retain a strong and meaningful voice in all decisions about the future of their schools. Discussion.
We need a motion first.
But
Move
want a
that-
motion
I move
to-
that we approve resolution proposal number 8. And Florida, I ask that you read the therefore part before as well, because I think that gives substance to the, and further be it resolved. It gives the meat to the resolution, and I'm happy to do that if you
Yeah,
want.
so just wait one second. Okay, so.
If we're going to read the whereas, I need everybody to understand that when we're on the floor voting this, the only thing we vote on is the and further be it resolved.
And therefore be it resolved.
So,
Well, this,
Yeah,
Right,
it's just, yeah, I read just the.
Okay,
second
so you're
part of
right. It
I
is
just-
the whole,
I missed
therefore
that
be
it
it
was,
resolved.
yeah,
Never mind.
and further, yeah. So, and you're seconding his motion, Ursula?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, discussion. I did miss, I was going quickly. So the above line says, therefore there be resolved that Vermont School Boards Association shall vigorously oppose any legislation that forces the consolidation of school districts, makes it easier to close small schools against the will of the community, imposes minimum class size on small elementary schools. So- and then what I read before. So some of this input was put into the other resolution. The board as a whole voted to take no action on this resolution. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is an important addition, and I think it deals with one of the biggest concerns that I've had and voiced many times on the board, given the new legislation in the state, is that that we have a potential to lose a lot of local control with the new models, and so I think that this is important for us to stand up for. Whatever voice that we can have in the future for local communities to have in the future, that a vote of yes to me says that we are for that voice.
In my opinion, number 7 says that they're going to advocate for strong, meaningful participation in decision-making by local school boards. It has that local decision-making about closing schools, local decision-making that supports the community served by the school to have a voice in decisions regarding school closures. It is repetitive, and it's like having 2 resolutions that say the same thing with different words.
Go ahead, Michaela.
I think that Resolution 7 is very vague, and I think 8 is more specific, and I would support 8 in addition to 7.
Sec.
I think this is a comment that I think applies to a lot of these other resolutions. I think we need to be honest about sort of what happened to local control with the Brigham decision. I think Brigham was one of the best things that ever happened for making sure that students who are disadvantaged had access to resources. But I think we need to be honest with ourselves that we've had 20 years of this uncomfortable situation where we have communal funding, but have really not had had most of the people funding that have a lot of say in what is happening. Is this really in the best interest of the students? And so I think things are really coming to a head. And I worry that if the school board association takes a stance of just saying no to everything, we're not going to succeed in saying no. We're going to succeed in making ourselves irrelevant.
Okay. Any other discussion? Otherwise, ready to vote on this one?
I'm not clear on which we're voting for.
Just 8, which that was the motion to vote yes on Resolution 8, the one that was just read, right?
You guys would be giving me
her
the
direction.
advice to vote yes.
Is it clear?
Could we read it again, please?
I'll do it this time, Flora.
Okay.
It says, therefore, be it resolved that the Vermont School Boards Association shall vigorously oppose any legislation that forces the consolidation of school districts, makes it easy to close small schools against the will of the community, imposes minimum class sizes on small elementary schools, and further, be it resolved that the VSBA will actively support legislation that ensures local communities retain a strong and meaningful voice in all decisions about the future of their schools.
Okay. Are you ready for the vote? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're nay too. Yeah, you're so awesome. Yeah, I wish it counted, but it's great to hear. And can you raise your hands, the yeses, just for me for a minute? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Julia's a yes. And Julia, 7. Okay, so the yeses have it. So now resolution 9. I need a motion.
I'll move that we approve.
Well, truck,
Turns out like a fire drill.
fire truck. Okay,
I move that we approve resolution proposal number 9, which states, therefore, be it resolved that the VSBA will vigorously oppose any legislation that seeks to force the consolidation of school districts or make it easier to force the closure of small schools or will impose minimum class sizes on small elementary schools, and will support legislation to ensure that local communities have strong voice in deciding whether small schools should close.
Okay. Again, I'm not going to read Resolution 7 again, but that's how we were trying to address it. Any other discussion?
We need a second.
And we know,
need a second.
oh, yes, sorry. Go ahead.
I
Ursula,
second.
second it. I was just
Now I have
assuming you have us. Okay. go
Now,
ahead.
I'm going to repeat what I said before. Now that we have approved 7 and 8, which say very similar things, and now 9 says a very similar thing. There's a reason that the VSBA Resolutions Board said, take no action. We're starting to get reductive where we're just saying the same thing, and they're all the same resolution. I would suggest that we take no position, but
So the way to take no position on this would be to vote it no.
vote no.
Yeah. Michaelan?
I agree that since we passed number 8, that 9 is now redundant.
Okay. Any other discussion before we go ahead, Patrick?
Yeah, I have a question. What's the, were these two proposed by different districts? Is that why they're, and I think there's probably value in being repetitive because it's an important concept, and it's a concept that is not being respected at the state level. And I think that there's some value in repeating ourselves that this is important, so that we are seen for standing up for these concepts in our state board.
Just to clarify, Patrick, is the legislators won't be reading these resolutions. The resolutions provide guidance for VSBA when we're testifying, and the resolutions get, like it's guidance that you have read. So what we're usually looking for is clarity, just like our policies, right? So like clarity of what it's being asked. So redundancy doesn't really mean more exposure from the legislators. I just want to make clear that it's not like this is a formal act that goes to the legislature. Just want to make sure. Go ahead, Chris.
So in the interest of time, because I think the Ursula's statement that 9, 10, and 11 are very similar, if not exact, then I would move to amend my motion to present them as a slate, so that we're not going through each one and voting. So, but they are pretty identical, each one of them. So I would move that
can we go?
Move to amend to put them as a slate, and so.
I think for clarity and just for Robert rules, if you wanted to withdraw your previous motion, that might be better than just trying to amend that. So if you wouldn't mind withdrawing your previous motion, and Ursula accepts the withdrawal of your previous motion, and then you make this motion.
Okay, so I will withdraw my previous motion with hope that my friend Ursula.
I accept.
Can accept that
Okay.
withdrawal.
Lisa, did you get that? It's
Yes.
being withdrawn? Okay.
And
And
now
now, can you say it again?
Because now I'll move that we consider a proposals number, resolution number 9, 10, and 11 as a slate, since they are very similar to the resolution that we passed, number 8, in the instance of time.
Will you
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I'm going to just go for the vote. I don't see any hands. All those in favor? If you are in favor, you would be passing this resolution. If you vote no, it's to take no action. We are ready.
I think if we're in favor of voting it as a.
Right now, we're saying
No,
taking it as a
that's
slate as recommended?
No,
As-
no.
no,
The
no,
motion
no,
is
as
to
to
vote them
vote
as a
yes.
slate and recommend them as a slate.
Recommended as a slate.
You want to recommend them as a, to pass as regular resolution for 9, 10, and 11? That's what your motion is?
Let me be clear, just like we did a slate
Yeah.
for the first 6.
Yep.
I'm suggesting that we do a slate for these several.
But
Okay, so-
what is the outcome? I was under the impression that you wanted voted
In
yes.
support, well, I'm moving that we
Yes.
support it.
Yes.
And pass them as a slate.
So Flora, I believe that if we vote yes, it's passed. If we vote no, then we would need a second motion to either decide on take no action or actively say no.
Right. I don't think so. What he's saying is to vote on this three resolution give guidance to vote yes on them.
No, I know that.
Supporting
Right,
them.
so instead of taking no position, which was the board recommendation from VSBA, you would like this board to vote yes
Right.
on all three of them.
So if you vote no, then we don't have to take a position,
Right, because the VSBA is taking a position, right?
okay?
Yeah, that,
Because if you vote no, you're saying they're redundant. If you
yes
vote yes,
or
you're saying
no
we
and
need
I'll go
extra.
with-
Well, that's a gloss, but.
Okay, stop talking.
now.
So
Poor Lisa.
Okay,
can I make a point?
yes,
In
Patrick.
favor of redundancy? That other boards may be having similar discussions and might have started with resolution number 11. And they might have gotten to the point at resolution number 10 and 9 that it was redundant and stopped. If we vote all of these yes, then we have a chance of magnifying our voice potentially with other boards that had a similar discussion, but maybe they only passed one of these.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion as read, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so all those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
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 Any abstain? I don't think I heard you, Daniel, so
was
I'm
gonna
like
say, Dan- Dan-
so confused.
leave me time.
If you're yes, please
Roll
raise
call.
your hand. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 in one in line. 5 yeses. Patrick, are you a yes? 6. Okay, so we have, and you're a yes too? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so. Okay, so we have 7 yeses and noes, 1, 2.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, put your hand up, sir.
Okay, 3
the motion.
online, okay.
Everybody can raise their
So
hand.
the motion carries and you have your guidance.
I've got my guidance.
Okay, that brings us to the end unless of the resolutions.
19 through 22, the current resolutions, did we do that one?
We did that as a
It was
slate.
part of
We
the other
took
one.
out
Okay,
Just
thank God.
8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay. All right. So now, we're going to move into the budget parameters and priorities. Just another light subject. Okay, hopefully you guys all had a chance to read the memo. We talked today, when we were talking about pre-K, about potentially adding one right after the multi-layer system of support. This would be the time to do that. Is that the pleasure of the board? Okay. So I'm just
motion?
going back to, yes.
I move that we add a draft budget parameter regarding pre-K proposal.
Yeah, I think we've got to be a little more specific.
I
than
know.
that. And
I don't, okay, hold on.
so, hold on a minute.
Continue to offer, nope, it wouldn't be continue. I'm working on the wording as I go. What? Expand our pre-K program in lines with the memo that was included in the October 15th board packet.
Okay, you got that? Lisa?
We're going to
No, we are adding,
add a budget parameter to go number 2, and thus move all the rest down, to expand our pre-K program offerings in lines with the pre-K memo dated October 15th, 2025.
I did, Daniel.
Daniel, second. Any discussion on that one motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So we've added a parameter, and now you can see the full list of parameters. I now will be looking for either more discussion or a motion to approve the parameters as with this additional parameter, right? Go ahead, Zach.
Well, Flora, we're sort of not ready for a motion because we didn't actually propose a percentage increase for parameter number 4.
Yeah, we would have that discussion. So, and there's a proposed motion there on the bottom. If you look at the memo, could somebody do that? Do you see that? Yeah, that's.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because the suggested.
Administration would like for the board to set a percentage?
Yeah.
Did Suzanne give us a number?
Suzanne is on the,
Suzanne.
I move to accept the budget parameters as presented with the following 5%. Excuse me, with 5% for parameter 4.
Second.
okay.
Clarification? 5% of what?
What it says there is net.
Net impact of expense budget in under 5%
Okay.
is what it would be.
And that's now parameter 5.
Not parameter
Correct.
5, thank you.
I have a question. Is Suzanne on?
She is.
Do you remember the question Finance asked you yesterday morning, giving you so much
I
time?
don't have a number for you yet, no.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
No worries.
Finance Committee had asked if admin had a recommendation, and they have been using a 5% per pupil, like I assume weighted per pupil,
Yeah.
like the weighted pupils.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Just to clarify, remember when we did our budget process, we really did it from a per pupil basis for our long-term weighted average daily membership. So we had a per pupil amount there. We've been initially looking at a 5% increase to that because that's what the voters see. That's what's on the ballot is an increase to the per pupil spending. And so, but I think the question was, what impact does that have on our overall budget? Will that number look like? We don't know yet because we're still calculating our long-term weighted average daily membership. And even then, we're going to have an estimate of that initially. We won't be able to set that until closer into December.
So, and we can always, oh, go ahead, Diane.
So admin, I just want to clarify what you just said. Admin is looking at a 5%, kind of maintaining 5% of that per pupil cost. And so is that potentially the language we should be using, which would be very clear to us, as opposed to, I don't know what 5% of the net impact of the expense budget? I don't even know.
And we did talk about it with the Finance Committee, and I will let Ursula speak to what the Finance Committee decided is like, the overall expenditure per student doesn't necessarily reflect our tax impact, and what we are, even though what our constituency sees is that that's the overall number, like here we're saying the 16,331 per pupil, that doesn't reflect tax, is the overall budget, which is what reflects. So is the net spending what, if I'm trying to be clear. So that's what we have done in the past, is do a percentage, is a little bit more clear guidance to them than a percentage, because we're not the ones allocating. But I don't know.
So
Ursula?
my question would be, is that clear for admin to know then?
Suzanne, you're in camera now, so I'll let you speak.
Either one of them provides clarity for us, right? And so, Suzanne, I'll let you speak to it.
I do think it provides clarity. The only issue is that the number we're going to start with for allocations will be our estimate of long-term weighted ADM, and then the state will tell us where it actually lands. And so the number might come out a little bit different, but we could always go back to the drawing board on our budget when that happens. It's just, I think what we were looking for is that, does that feel like a reasonable number to the board to begin our allocations with, using 5% increase on the per pupil spending? The last year's per pupil spending was 15,272, so it's 5% on that number is what we're looking at using.
Yeah, and that is on parameter number 3. Go ahead.
So one of the things we discussed at finance was that talking about the per pupil spending, right, even if it's the long-term average daily weighted per pupil spending, is in line with how we did budgeting last year too, though. So like when we're talking about per pupil spending and allocating to the schools in an equitable way, I don't know that we came to a decision one way or another, whether or not we would change the wording on what is now Resolution 5, or Parameter 5. And so, there was another one I had. I think it's easy, they're using that right now, even though it's an estimated per student, right? Our weighted number of students is still an estimate. And we don't, yeah. And I would say I looked up the CPI for New England, and it's 3.7%, but we also know that healthcare went up significantly more. And so 5 seems like a reasonable number.
Patrick?
Yeah, so that last point leads into my question is about what's the relationship between health insurance premiums and
That's why net
per pupil? So like, if health insurance goes up 15%, is 5 going to cover it, or do we need to make that number bigger? Just
Suzanne?
I realize it's not linear, but you know.
Let me find my crystal ball.
Yeah.
So can I just, I think I would just remind the board, this is your guidance right now. We're going to
Yeah.
try to, I mean, if we can, we'll come in under 5% increase. But I think that there's a reason to say, let's cap it right now so that we can look at what does this mean for our programming. And so I think that it's important for us just to remember, look, we don't have enough information to know, is this a solid number? But it gives us a place to start, and it gives us a way to look at the budget. This is also, we want to make sure that we're responsible to the taxpayers and making sure that we keep the number as low as possible in terms of tax increase. And this is a number that will at least give us some guidance on that.
Thank you, Stephen. Daniel?
Yeah, I was just going to also respond, Patrick, to what you asked. We talked about the importance in communicating the net impact of the budget when we do receive it to the public in terms of the health insurance increase and what percentage of the total increase that represents. Like, that's a really important story for us to tell when we're presenting this budget. So I don't think that rises to a budget parameter because it's more what we do with the budget when we get it. But and I also wanted to mention that the September 25th estimate that's referenced in parameter 4 is a 2.5% increase over last year's excess spending threshold, which I think that estimate was made with them knowing what health insurance premiums were increasing by.
No, the increase to your threshold is based on the inflationary index only.
It's exclusively the inflation.
Just inflation.
Not the bundle of goods that a school district has to purchase.
Correct.
No. Okay. Diane, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I just want to say, I'm not trying to be picky around. I want to make sure that the language we use is helpful in budgeting. I also want to be sure that it doesn't misrepresent if we end up having to back that up. And so that's the only reason why I'm asking, does it make sense to have that as that part of it? Or is it a different parameter where we are stating that we are being as fiscally responsible as we are able to maintain and keep things low? But I worry we put a number out there, and then if the reality pushes that up, does it then look like we're not being responsible? And if you're already using potentially the per pupil cost around some of that planning, if it makes sense for that. So that's the only reason I was asking that question about it, because if I don't understand the language, I'm not sure how I can maintain that parameter. Yes.
Yeah, and I think last year we did change this parameter. I don't know if you remember that we started with 3% and then we increased it to 5%. So the idea to have just one, it's not like we're just starting this conversation right now. We might see ourselves having to change that parameter when we have more information, but that's what we did last year. We went from a 3%, I think it was, to a 5%. I'm looking at you, Stephen. I can't remember right now exactly, but it was like that. It was 3 to 5, I'm pretty sure. Ursula?
I was going to make a motion to change the now number 5 parameter to read that we would bring the,
We already have a motion.
Oh, do we
on
have a
the floor.
motion
Yeah,
to
by
accept?
Daniel, yeah, to accept with the
Hannah.
5%.
Correct.
Yeah, and we
Hannah.
have a motion and a second on the floor, so.
So you can offer an amendment.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm backing up. I'm going
just
I'm
say-
going to offer an amendment to the wording for the now number 5 budget parameter to change the wording to, I'm working on it, to keep the increase in the per pupil spending in the average daily membership per pupil spending under a 5% increase. Does that make sense, Suzanne?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you want to just leave percentage, or do you want to put a number to it?
Well, I said the 5%. It's remaining the 5, it keeps the 5% that we chucked in there previously. It just changed the wording to a number that they're currently using.
Ursula, I'm assuming you mean LTW ADM. so the
Yeah.
weighted
Yes,
ADM.
I got my acronym all wrong.
I just
as
want
I
to make
was
sure
going.
because they're different things and I don't want it in the minutes.
I mean the long-term weighted average daily membership per pupil cost.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I accept that friendly amendment.
Okay, and a second.
It's not a friendly amendment. It's
Yeah,
an amendment.
It's an amendment.
It was
Yeah, a full amendment, so we're going to vote on the amendment, and then, so Zach is seconding the amendment.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? So if,
Now it's discussion on the amendment. So the amendment changes number 5 to read that we would keep the
we would say.
increase, right, we want to keep the increase to the long-term weighted average daily membership per pupil spending to under 5%.
Under 5%, to 5%, because they're using 5%.
It is, and this is
Let
a-
epsilon be
in
an
under
arbitrarily small
5%, but
number.
less than or equal to 5%.
Okay.
If it is 5.001, I'm coming after you.
4.99.
There we go.
Okay. So you're voting on the amendment. Okay, so if you want this instead of what we have right now for number 5, vote yes. If you want to keep what Daniel had offered, vote no. You have a question?
Can someone please, in a very succinct and understandable way, explain to me what the difference is and why we would make this amendment? I'm looking at Stephen. He looks
All
like
right,
he has a good answer.
So very, very briefly, the long-term weighted average daily membership at cost per pupil is that last year it was 15,320.
31.
31.
Yeah.
So we would increase that by 5% or less in terms of our overall spending in the district when we do that calculation. If we were, our net expenses are based upon slightly different calculations. This gives us a working from a per pupil basis as opposed to the entire budget basis. And we did our budgeting by pupil last year. So it's actually, for us, I would say it's a fairly clear, here's where we're going to increase, and this is why we're increasing. I think we can talk the story about why we're increasing the per pupil spending because of needs or additional pupils or any of those kinds of things versus just here's the whole budget. Now, we may have to come back to it once we look at tax implications and all of that, but I think it gives us a clear, we're not going to spend more per pupil than 5%.
And does that increase flexibility if that LTWADM number changes?
If the LTWADM, the total number of kids in that calculation, if it goes up, our total funds go up plus the 5%, right, that we've said we would do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
But Suzanne raised her hand, she's
Suzanne has
going to
her-
correct me.
I don't want to correct you. I just want to offer that 5% on the per pupil LTWADM is likely to be less than a 5% net increase on the overall budget because our enrollment is likely to be down, and so our
Down.
LTWADM is likely to be down. So I just want to be very transparent on that.
Yeah.
That is the difference, because you were asking, McCaitlin.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
No.
No.
You want 15%?
Oh, he wants the
No.
original wording.
You
Yeah,
want different wording?
no, the original.
The original
yeah.
wording.
Yeah. Okay, so the amendment passed, so now we vote on our,
So I have just a request of Suzanne. Since healthcare is such a prominent factor, and you may do this already, will you bring what the healthcare increase cost is as a percentage, so it's very clear what is driving our budget as well?
That
You know what I
was
mean?
one of the things that the finance was asking
Yeah,
for.
Okay,
yes.
great. Thank you.
okay. And now we have a motion by Daniel with the amendment. So we're going to vote on that. Is there any more discussion before we vote on the parameters? Okay, all those in favor of the parameters as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. We have parameters, so,
Thank you, board, appreciate it.
okay. So let's keep moving. And Suzanne, I didn't get, those are for you, but you're not here. Have to deliver.
I'm just next door. I could sneak over in a little bit.
Okay. Come on. Okay, okay, sorry, I have to go all the way to the beginning. Now,
Floor, can I recommend, I think the board might need a 5-minute break.
the last part was the legislative update, and really what that was, therefore, is like I put in all of the comments and the notes that we got from our community engagement meeting, where we talked about the Career Center and especially Act 73. All of those notes were there, so I was just wanting to debrief with you guys. I thought that a couple of things that we could do is write a small summary to the task force, the redistricting task force, so send a memo from us, and including that memo, the study with Montpelier that we did, and summarize the information that we received from our communities in anticipation of the next meeting. And then what I can do is work with the steering committee on that, if that is okay with the board. Or what would you want to do with the information, or you want me to do anything? I'm just putting it out there. I just thought that we should do something with it since we gather it. Was that okay? Okay, thumbs up. I don't need a motion for that. I just want to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. Okay. And now I'm going to give it to my friend here, Mr. Chris McVeigh. Let's get into the policy first reading, quick. Go.
So we have 3 policies for first reading and 3 for second reading. And the first is C15, which is a student conduct and discipline policy. It's actually a kind of a Franken policy, because we had to combine 2 other policies and took bits and pieces from the one that we already had and incorporated them into this new policy. And we hope the operation was successful and that you'll approve it, at least offer some comments so we can bring it back again for approval. And we had a pretty good discussion, I think, on this whole student conduct policy and discipline. Are there any questions about this C15 on the first read? Hearing none, we'll go on to our bus discipline policy, which is one of the holdover policies that we've had, and we just did a quick review didn't offer any substantive changes to it, and I wouldn't even think we could approve it because it's, it was part of our review, and we adopted it from our previous policies. So any comments or questions about this? Daniel?
Yeah, I just have two. One is I noticed in paragraph 5, the monitoring of behavior may be done at the discretion of the board. I was just curious if we really want that to be at our discretion or whether we wanted that to be at the discretion of school administrators.
Well, I think I do actually hope we keep the discretion as to whether we do that as a policy, but then hand it over to the administrators as to how it's done.
Okay.
And so I would prefer that we keep that determination here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then question 2 was, this is silent on the use of sort of a second adult on the bus for the purpose of monitoring and regulating behavior, which when in instances of like multiple students misbehaving, like it seems like a safety concern if you're having the driver of the bus be the primary sort of discipline monitor. And I know that this has happened at least at my children's school and on my children's bus this year, and I didn't know if we wanted to at least speak to that as one such remedy in the policy.
Can I just say,
Sure.
I'm thinking that's what it means when it says "and other" at the discretion of the board. So should we hear of an issue and potentially have it come before us as to, as a budgetary impact, that to me is what that statement means. And, not necessarily an extra person, but any other thing that would be recommended that we have the discretion to say.
Great. And I will say we did not talk about having a person on the bus as a backup for the bus driver for monitoring purposes. I do recall historically that there were folks who would ride the bus, but I think it came either cost or availability of individuals who were willing to do that. But we can certainly take it up, and if that's the will of the board, to explore that as a possibility and have bus monitors who are in human form rather than video form.
I'm not suggesting that the system as it is now is not effective. I just didn't know if it's appropriate for the policy to be explicit about that or not.
Okay.
I think I agree with what Diane says,
Yeah.
that the other covers us, but just wanted to bring it up.
Right.
I'm thinking of students who might end up getting asked to not ride the bus due to disability, behavior related to disability, and I'm just curious how that relates to the policy, limits the ability to make plans or modifications for students who have disabilities that are riding the bus and their behavior is considered unsafe or whatever it might be.
So I think that would come under the discipline policy, which would take the student's disability into account on whether or not a loss of bus privileges would occur.
Yeah, I would actually go one step further. The IEP process would be used in that instance because there's also manifest determination, and all those pieces would have to come into play. A student can't be denied access to their education if they have a disability that would prevent them from riding the bus, even if it were behavioral. So there's a team that would come together to make decisions around that.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that the policy wasn't limiting that. and
It would not.
that is
They
helpful.
would be protected under the IDEA rules and all of
Awesome.
that.
Thank you.
And and also Diane pointed out that it does reference the IDEA 504 and Americans with Disability Act would be adhered to.
Yeah. Oh. I was reading that part about specific to the monitoring, but maybe I read it wrong. Or I'm not
And
understanding.
I think it's confusing because it's in the same paragraph, but it says their rights of access
The right-
will be adhered to.
Okay, Ursula just suggested that we make that a separate paragraph, so it is clearly different. And we'll do that, okay. Next up, we have selection of library materials. Any questions on this? No? Okay. So we'll bring those back for votes at our next meeting. And then next, the second readings, we have the Behavioral Threat Assessment Team, F5. And I'm going to propose that we move these as a slate, unless someone has a different thought, because it's the second reading. And the next is, after that is C47, Student Exchanges. And then C70, Use of Restraint and Seclusion. Is there a motion?
And F46.
Go.
I just have a question, and I was wondering this before. So I know that for younger students, restraint is not allowed, specifically in pre-K. Does that need to be included in the policy?
Because it's actually 8 and older.
Yeah, right, yeah. It's early ed, so it's 8 and under that cannot be restrained.
I think.
And that's Education
I
Rule
think we have that
4500.
in there.
Yeah, okay.
Which is
Okay.
referenced in there. So the law is actually referenced in there that we have to follow.
Okay, all right.
So now we're looking for a motion.
Oh, your mic.
Actually, let me add one more. I forgot the flag raising. F46. The one change that we did there was renewal every 2 years. I don't think it's in here, though, is it?
It didn't. So we got the wrong, so where it's the 4th bullet down, actually, there's a second bullet in that paragraph that starts with the flag shall remain on the school flagpole. That should read, the flag shall remain on the school flagpole for 2 years from the raising ceremony and shall then be removed unless the board elects a different time frame. Yep,
So with that modification,
my apologies.
Is there a motion to move these?
So would you want to, as chair, would you like to make a motion of?
I'll move
Okay.
move that we vote as a slate, policy F5, C47, C70, and F46 for approval and adoption.
Thank you. Second by Michaelan. Okay. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries, and the policy discussion is over. Thank
May
you.
I think there's one piece of, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch it when we said D8, when we did the first reading. That is going to replace D22. We're going to repeal D22 when we accept D8, just so that the board's aware. That's our current library policy. And so this was the updated policy from the VSBA. I didn't make that clear, and I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay. With that, we're going to move into the Finance Committee discussion, and there's a budget development update in page 52. Stephen, do you want to?
Yeah. So you want me? You want me to go ahead and
pages
update?
aren't
Yeah.
really numbered, are they? Down, it's light gray in the bottom right-hand corner.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, mine's not, so.
Oh, yours is
I'm-
not.
No, the one set was not.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. So one of the things that the leadership team is asked to do is we want to make sure that we survey both our staff and our community, so to be able to help prioritize some of the work. And so we just want to make sure that the board was aware. As we come back to you for the next meeting, we're going to distribute some surveys to really try to at least create some kind of prioritization around some of the work that we're doing. Pre-K is a good example. Like we know that that's important to our community. How important is it is, I think, an important part for us as we start putting together this budget. Because we're going to probably have to make some hard decisions. It'd be nice to know what our staff and our community think about that.
Okay.
That's it.
Just a quick question.
Yes, Diane?
Will we see a copy of it? I mean, you know what I mean? So
Of the
when it
sur-
goes out, will we see a copy of the
I will make
survey?
sure that the board receives a copy of the survey. As
Thank you.
members
Yeah,
of the
we'll-
community, you should.
Yeah.
And the board will then be able to use that as you kind of set some more of your priorities around budgeting.
Okay, so now we are. IT staffing. You what?
Do we have to do the IT stuff?
Yeah, we're going to do it. They moved it, so we're going to do the IT stuff under personnel. So the first part is approve teachers. I didn't see any in the packet. And so we're going to now do the IT staffing and restructuring. I'm looking for a motion from the Finance Committee members, and then we can move into discussion if you wouldn't mind. Go ahead, Ursula.
I move that the board approve the creation of a network infrastructure specialist and a network security specialist position to replace 2 of the current network administrator/tech support positions.
Second.
Thank you, Ursula. Second by Zach. Any discussion or questions? The job descriptions were there. The Finance Committee recommended that too and discussed it. Okay, seeing none, Diane, sorry, I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
So just a question, I saw that it said that would not impact 25-26 budget. Going into our new budgeting year, do we anticipate any impact or ripple as we're building it?
Just inflationary increases to salary and benefits, because, Suzanne, do you want to cover that?
Yeah, one of the positions is currently unfilled. Someone retired in July, and so I just don't know what I don't know when I don't know what that person's going to be making. So
Thank you, Suzanne.
We're not adding more positions. We're restructuring the positions that we currently have.
same number of positions, yeah.
Patrick?
Would these be like just more specialized folks in the same universe? Is that the?
Yeah,
the
and I think
IT job?
it better reflects what they're currently doing, at least the person that's currently there and the person that left. They were focusing in those areas. And I don't know if David is there or not.
Spencer is here, but David is not here, and he's trying to hide, but
And I'm not going to ask Spencer to speak on this. It's totally fine. It's just a restructure of the department and taking a couple of positions and definitely specializing them because we have a need. You know, you have a need to really focus some on the security of the technical side of things. And that is a little bit different than the network infrastructure. So they're both network positions, but one is going to work on the infrastructure of things, and the other is the cybersecurity side. And not just cyber, but security in general.
Yeah. I would just add that it really just, it shows the changes in the jobs over the years, is how they've evolved.
Yeah.
okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries. Okay, into the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of October 8th, 2025. Could I have a motion? Was that, Elizabeth, you're moving the minutes? And second by McKaylen. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes passed. And now we're going to move into our board orders. Some lucky person has the board orders, and hopefully they have passed it all along, and everybody has signed, and Elizabeth has them. So could you, yeah.
Just the bottom.
Just the bottom, yeah, the total and the date, yeah.
Date is between,
It should be right there.
9/11.
yeah, are you referring to the, so you want me to read each one?
There are different date ranges. Call out a date range of September 11th through October 15th. Yeah,
Got
October
it,
15th.
thank you, okay. I move to approve the board order between September 11th to October 15th, 2025, in the amount of $943,298.04.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was a good one. Second by McKellen. All right. Pressure is off. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Make sure to sign them, and for those of you in cyberspace, don't worry about it, because we have 8 members here, so we should be okay. All right. So Borders has future agenda items. We have the configuration committee models are coming. The survey for the priorities is coming to us too. The letter to the task force. I didn't write any other notes, so you guys can help me out. No? Okay. The survey that administration is doing for budget priorities. And then, and our students are also working on a survey. So Lay is working on a survey, and we'll have that data, well, hopefully at the same time, Lay and Catherine and Elise. Board reflections. Gonna get you out of time. No, go ahead.
I don't have a reflection, just a reminder to select 3 things for the Communications Committee to focus on for our posting.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm gonna wait to do it right after public comments, or we can do it right now under board reflection.
Might as well do it now,
Okay. So
having said that.
I think the work of the configuration committee would be a really big one. Our budget parameters are really,
pre-K.
and the pre-K information. Those are, to me, the 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to move into public comment. And for those brave souls that stay with us, they get a minute and a half. You can unmute yourself, and I think we have put to sleep most of them. I don't know. Okay, nobody is coming unmuted or raising their hands. Okay, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to do the teacher silence. I'm just going to take that I don't see any hands, and we're going to keep this moving. So public comment is over, and we're now going to move into an executive session for personnel. There's no action coming after it, so please feel free to pack up. And Michelle and Julia, I'm going to call you on the phone, and feel free to leave the Zoom. And Diane, you're ready to take notes? Yep. Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
And then, you what? And then now can I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Thank you, Patrick. To include our superintendent.
To include the superintendent?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. A second by,
Did you want to? I'll second.
thank you, Ursula.
Yeah.
Personnel
Personnel.
is what I said. That's what I said. Personnel to include our superintendent. And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.